Welcome back to the Crafty Catholic. I'm April, and thanks for stopping by today. What am I doing? I am kind of doing a mini makeover on my front porch. It's just time to clean it and put out some bright, happy summer things. This video is going to be part of the Heidi Sonboul Summer Challenge Hop. So if you have never been to Heidi's page, please check it out. Her link will be in the description box below. She is amazing. The things that she makes are beautiful and professional looking, and she is just so creative. I don't know where she gets her ideas, but she's wonderful. And then check out the rest of the playlist, and you can see all of the YouTubers that are participating in her summer theme playlist. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and get started.
Hi guys, thanks for stopping by today. I'm going to be working on some projects for my front porch, and the first one starts with this Dollar Tree steering wheel cover. So I'm using it to cover, I think this was maybe a 10-inch wreath form from Dollar Tree. And I liked the black and white checker. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Mackenzie Child stuff, but I also think it's just cute. So I am using hot glue and some clamps to glue the inside edge to this wreath form. Now, it was pretty secure on the form without gluing it down, but I didn't want to see the wire at all, and so I'm just using the hot glue to make sure that none of that wire comes through. And I'm just working my way around. First I glued at every spoke on the form, and then I went back and glued in between each one. And then I'm just running a little bit on the outside edge of the frame. Like I said, it was pretty snug back there, but since this is going to be outside on my door, I didn't want it to slip off as the door moved. Now I'm taking some Dollar Tree sunflowers. No, they're not from Dollar Tree either. These are from Walmart. My Dollar Tree didn't have sunflowers. And so I got these from Walmart. I also picked up some daisies, and the eucalyptus and willow sprigs were just some things that I had already. And so I'm kind of just deciding how I think they look good and gluing them down. Now I'm taking some of this polka dot burlap ribbon that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm just making a simple bow with that. I looped it around itself and used a zip tie. And I'm just going to glue it where I like it, and then I'm taking some extra pieces and kind of weaving them in and out through the greenery down the wreath so that it has some hanging tails. And here it is, all finished and hanging on my door. On to project number 2. So this one is a little unconventional, I guess. I started with this foam kneeler from the Dollar Tree and one of these metal windmill welcome signs, and I just wanted to use the welcome part of it. So I tried everything to get that off. It was really hard, thick wire. I couldn't cut it with my wire cutters. I tried to use my miter shears. Eventually I got this flat-headed screwdriver and just pried the thing off, which then left some little dents. So I got out my hammer and tried to flatten those out, and I had the most success using a rounded dowel, wooden dowel under that, and then hammering it back down to try to get that shape. Now I am using Waverly chalk paint in ivory, and I'm also going to be using some black. I painted the metal welcome sign. I lost the footage of that, but then I also just kind of streaked it over this, what's it called? Kneeling pad. I don't know, it's in the gardening section. And you use it when you're doing yard work. But I wanted it to look more like old weathered beech wood. You know how it gets that gray, kind of streaky gray, just weathered look. That's what I wanted. I didn't want the flat foam of that kneeling pad to be my background. And then I'm doing the same thing on this part of the handle that is also foam, and I'm just using gray and black together. Now I'm taking twine from Dollar Tree, and I am just cutting off a big chunk of it. And I'm going to be wrapping it around this part of the handle, so I used my X-Acto knife to flatten out that bottom portion. It had some wave to it where like your fingers would go, but I didn't want that, so I just trimmed that off. And then I used a little bit of hot glue to hold the twine in place as I started wrapping. And then just, I don't know, every 4 or 5 I stopped and put some more glue on. It didn't need a lot of glue because I'm not going to be carrying this. It's not going to be handled. It just needed enough to keep it tight together. When I got to the end, I just flipped it over, I squirted some more hot glue and cut it off. And then I'm going to do the same thing to my little shovel. On either side of the foam, I'm going to wrap it with twine. And I lost some of the footage, but I mean, you guys know how this works. As I got to the top, I just wound it around on itself. And tucked in the middle. And I did the same thing to the bottom wood part of that little shovel. So here I lost some footage again, but I have glued on that welcome, and I painted it with the ivory paint, and now I'm going to glue my little shovel on. And I've got some spots there on the foam and on the back of the shovel where I had glued it on and then pulled it up because I was testing to see how good that hot glue held. And I wasn't crazy about the hold, so this time I'm also using some E6000. This is going to be outside, so it doesn't have to be super secure, but there is weather, so I don't want it just to fall off. And then I am going to be taking the rest of my sunflowers and daisies, and I just grouped them together like a little bouquet, and I made a bow using that same polka dot burlap that I got at the Dollar Tree, and then this black and white gingham ribbon that I found at a flea market for 25 cents for the whole roll. That was pretty good. And I am bending the flowers just so they fit over the hump from that shovel. And I'm sorry that I lost the footage of making the bow, but I think you guys know how to make bows. To make a hanger for this piece, I am going to use the rest of the gingham ribbon that I had, and I'm just going to glue it around the outside of the foam kneeler. And I'm not going to worry about trying to contour it to that wavy shape. I kind of want to disguise that a little bit. So I am just using my hot glue, and I'm hitting all the high points and smoothing that ribbon onto that foam. And I will do that around 3 of the sides, the 2 sides and the bottom, and then I will leave the top free, and that's how I will hang it. So here's the finished piece hanging on an old wooden sled that we keep on our front porch, and I really like it. I think it's different, it's kind of cute and quirky, but definitely cute and summery, and I'm really happy with this one.
for the next project, I'm using 2 of these Dollar Tree pet bandanas. So I saw these in the store, and I am a sucker for all things gingham, so I got them, and I had no idea what I was going to use them for. But I realized that they are basically just big triangles of fabric. So I had 2 of them, so I glued them together so that I have a square to work with. And then I am just hot gluing them onto this plant wrapper that came on some mums that I had bought. I think they're mums anyway. So all I am doing is I started by gluing the 4 corners, and then I'm just going to work my way around this paper, plastic, I'm not sure what it is, plant wrap, and I'm putting some glue, and then I'm scrunching that fabric up into the glue while it's hot. And if you do not have finger protectors, I would not recommend this project because you are going to burn your fingers. But it was really simple and easy. It's kind of a bonus, but it turned out really cute. And here's how it looks with a plant in it. So the last thing I wanted to work on my front porch was the doormat. So here I've taken 4 Dollar Tree plain black doormats, and I have taped them together. Now they did have rounded corners, so the side that I taped together, I cut the rounded corner off. And then I am just using painter's tape to lay stripes out. Sorry. So I have lots of helpers in this section, just to tell you. I was sitting on the kitchen floor, and apparently that's very interesting to all of the four-legged things that live in my house. So you're going to see several of them making appearances. But what I'm doing is I am using 1 piece of painter's tape as a spacer, and I am just taping out lines across the whole 4 of those mats that are taped together. That's Heidi, our dog. She thinks she's helping me. And then I'm shooing her away repeatedly. So after I've finished going vertically, I'm going to come back in with the same process, and I'm going to use 1 piece of tape as a spacer, and then I'm going to tape lines that go horizontally across these mats. So in the end, I'm going to have a grid, and you'll see that here in a second. Heidi's still helping. So I'm done taping, and I'm just going to go over all of that with a rolling pin just so it is really securely pressed down. And then I'm starting with fabric paint, and I'm not really sure when I started this what was going to be the best method. So like I said, I started with the fabric paint, and I wasn't really liking that, so then I switched to just regular white acrylic paint, and I still felt like it was just really absorbing into those mats. So I took them outside and I gave it a coat of spray paint, and that seemed to work. That kind of created like a barrier, I guess, so that then when I come back in with my acrylic paint, it just wasn't all absorbing into the mat. Now I will tell you, this took a lot of paint. I think if I did it again, I would probably just spray paint the whole thing, and I might have to do like 5 or 6 coats of spray paint, but I think I would use less paint. I used all that bottle of acrylic paint wasn't full, but I used up all of what was left in it, and I used up the smaller thing of fabric paint just because I had to, and I still had to get more white paint. So I think spray paint would be the best way to go on this. But regardless, in the end, I was happy with the way it turned out. So here it is completely painted and dried. I let it lay out in the sun and really, really dry. And so now it's just a process of peeling all that tape off, which is oddly satisfying. This is the best part of any project like this, right? When you get to pull the tape off and see how it looks.
So another thing that I did for this porch mini makeover was I took my sisal mat that was already on my porch. It's still in good condition, but it was looking a little worn out or just dreary. So it has hello on it, and I took black paint and I repainted that hello. So here it is, my old mat with some fresh paint on top of the new mats that I just made. I'm really happy with this one too. So here is the before, kind of plain. I washed and swept. And then here is the after. There's the new wreath that I made. Here are the new doormats, and I think I am really going to like this big size doormat. It's a very wet time of year here in Missouri. Lots of stuff gets tracked in. I feel like that big mat is really going to help keep some of that yuck outside. Here's my new flower pot cover and my welcome sign. I kind of like not only having the welcome sign on the door this time. Anyway, let me know what you think down below.
So I hope you enjoyed all of that. There were a lot of projects for this one, but none of them were really hard. So it's all things that I think you can do. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you want to. And don't forget to go over and check out Heidi's channel and all of the other ones that are participating in today's challenge, and that playlist should be in the description box as well. Please know that I am praying for you and your families, and I hope that God blesses you this summer. All right, thanks.